Good day, my name is Otilia Mafukidze. Today I'll be talking on the introduction of poverty to UK. I'll be talking on definitions, changes over time and how it is measured, how it is defined in two main ways such as absolute poverty and the relative poverty. It is not about the income such as health, education, losing, and opportunities. This concept provide different elements and explain how poverty impacts human lives and policies set aside to tackle dilemma faced by the country. Definitions of COVID: reduced in choice, well-being, no man basics, fewer opportunity, education, poor livings, and limited services. Poverty is not more than just lack of money, but all situational behavior. The effects leads to health, education, housing, and life opportunities. In the UK, poverty is described in two main ways such as absolute and relative poverty. It affects the ability to meet essential needs and limits their choices and life choices. What is absolute poverty? Absolute poverty means that an individual cannot put the elements on the table for survival. The essential include food, clean water, shelter, clothing, basic health care. It is often measured against fixed standards such as World Bank's global poverty line of £2.15 a day. I'll be going with my slides. £2.15 a day. This is considered in terms of household and unable to provide basic standards. Absolute poverty is visible, severe, life-threatening, striking. It promotes strength to health and safety issues, hypothermia or mental disorder. Absolute poverty exists despite the UK's being high-income country, only hidden within marginalized groups. For example, like those people who rely on social grant or charity or upkeeps. Relative poverty is exclusion from normal. This is the relative poverty. Relative poverty is exclusion from normal living standards if the earning is less than 60% of the national income after housing. It's measured in relation to the society around us. For example, a child might have a basics but miss the life-saving surgery, new clothes on Christmas, or internet access. This limits good health, social participation, and global overseas. Relative poverty in UK is important because inequality is visible and painful in a wealthy nation. The concept is about which group you are looking to, not to just accept about it as groups you belong to, just as surviving. The relative poverty group may not face starvation, but stress, mental instability, being looked down, as well on the opportunities, confidence in friends, not able to participate fully in the society cycle, and end up being loneliness. Evaluations and about relative evaluations, absolute versus relatives. Absolute poverty, however, constant capture the exclusion and leave the people of individual in the society. The exclusion and living experience of individual in the society, even though they met their survival needs, it gives focus on survival situation and behavioral. It uses fixed standards to measure such as ability to afford 3 meals per day or shelter. Hence, relative focus captures inequality, social exclusion in the society around us. It focuses directly on education, life opportunities, and health, whereas critics said it can change if there is a shift in median name. For example, in recession, fewer people may appear to be in poverty, even though their lives have not improved because of fall in the median income. Both absolute poverty and relative poverty give clear information regarding conceptual scenario of poverty in UK. In a world society, relative poverty is more widely used to reflect painful inequality. Moreover, absolute poverty remains fundamental for pointing out where the action is needed. Historical background. Industrial fueled poverty everywhere in the 19th century. Privilege report and birth of welfare state. This is about in the 19th century, poverty was widespread, often connected to industrialization and poor working and living conditions. Over the last 2 centuries, poverty has changed dramatically in the UK. Families lived on overcrowded housing with limited access to healthcare and health education. Charles Booth's studies in London in 1890s found that families lived in overcrowding housing with limited access to education, less food without water. Over 30% lived in poverty. Introducing the NHS free education and social security reduced poverty levels. However, the robust action was tackled in the 1940s after the UK realized the need of social protection. The foundations were led by Beveridge. A report 1992 introducing fuel, which today the poverty has turned modern as module technology. It is about inequality, security, exclusion. Modern poverty is complete due to high cost of living. The majority rely on food basics. Current trends. In work property, where people have jobs but still cannot afford basic living costs. In this modern poverty, faced many, according to Department of Work pensions. Around 14.5 million in UK live in poverty, including children. The food banks run by charities such as Trustell Trust have become normal feature of UK society. High housing costs and unstable work have pushed away families into hardship. Poverty in UK has shifted from unemployment alone also to suffering the work class. Measuring poverty. AHC is often more accurate as high rents can erode people's earnings. This shown before housing cost, after losing cost. Incoming measures are the most commonly used in UK. However, there are different ways to expose the hidden struggles for people living under 60% of median income. Material deprivation shows that daily choices people must make between food, rest, and dignity. Both constant poverty and material deprivation shows that falling before the line of the real struggle for survival. On the other hand, social exclusion is total off of the people from healthcare, education, community gathering, jobs, internet access, even opportunity. Finally, multidimensional poverty is layered, complex, and deeply human. This is not a dimensional but captures poverty across health, education, and living standard. In summary, poverty is characterized, my last slide, poverty is characterized by lack of basic needs and opportunity. It can be characterized to relative access, ranging, hardship, inequality, environmental. Its impacts include health and cycle include poor health, limited education, housing costs, employment, and cycle that across. Slide 10 is for my references. Thank you so much. This is my presentation on poverty in UK. Thank you.